There's a concept I like to call the squint test. It's essentially, if you're looking at a piece of code and if you squint at it and it starts to look like just a big grey brick and you can't really pick out what the different sections are, it failed the squint test. So the point here is that you should be putting, it seems like a really trivial thing, you should be putting in more like new lines and spacing, and that spacing generally should be separating your code out into sort of vaguely semantic, logical pieces of code. So if you're just looking at all of your code and there's no spacing, or there's very little spacing and there's no new lines going in there, it's just a one line after another line after another line after another line. I try to read that code. It's difficult for me to figure out, okay, what are these 3 lines supposed to be doing as a unit? What are those 3 lines supposed to be doing? Whereas if you split these things out, and so for example, you'd have 3 lines that are sort of calculating tax, and so you're doing a total, running total, and you're iterating over some things. So you say, okay, let's initialize the variable at the beginning, then do the for loop, and then stick a new line in, because the next thing you're going to do is a semantically different thing. We're going to apply tax to our current total. So then we do, whatever lines you need to do to apply the tax. And then so you can sort of start to build up your code over time, and it splits out into some nice little sections. And so when you squint at it, you can sort of squint and say, oh, that's the calculating total side, and that's the tax side, and that's the what do we do with the tax side? It makes your code a lot easier for someone to just open up, understand, get to grips with. And so it's generally a very, I find, useful advice for writing code. And I think it's something that I think a lot of people overlook. New lines are very useful and you should absolutely use them.